Hello, Leo. Welcome to your February connection session. I am Princess India if you're new, and if you're family, welcome back, my friend, and what's not all whatever. So, anywho, we're going to go ahead and jump into you guys' cards for February to see what is going on between you and, your person of interest. And by the way, happy Valentine's Day, Leo and friends. But anywho, the first card out, we're going to be looking at, well, let me tell you what we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at the energy between you and your person of interest, but first your energy, then their energy, then the energy between you. And then I'm going to get into a more specific spread where I'm going to be looking at how your person of interest thinks as well as feels about you. For continuity, let me move my mouse. I'm going to go ahead and pick the cards for the second spread now so we don't have to do that later. Okay. And the first card out we have representing you all. Wait, let me make sure I cover the boobs so I don't get canceled on YouTube. We have the Six of Swords representing you, Leo. So what is looking like you in reference to this particular person is a desire to move forward with them. I do get a vibe with this, Leo, that it's almost as if you guys, not saying that you're just getting out of something, but it feels more or less like, do I want to say recent past? Kind of like a recent past, not really, like not recent, like in the last couple of weeks or something. But I do feel like you guys were in a connection with someone not too long ago, but meaning it in the sense of like, it's like malingering kind of energy. Like you could have broken up with this person 6 months ago, you know what I'm saying? Or a year ago, but I feel like that person's energy was still around you, or you still kind of felt a way about how things ended or the fact that things ended. So just them still kind of lingering in your energy. But how I'm seeing you guys showing up at present, I'm not really seeing that so much as a thing. So it's more or less you guys are having a desire to move forward in relationship in general or in reference to a particular person. So it's kind of like the chains that binded you from the past are now broken, right? And you're open to be receptive to a connection with another person. Now, with your person of interest, ooh, child, okay. We have the, wait, hold on. That's a booby. We have the Hierophant here. That's Taurus energy. So with your person, their headspace, pretty much is they're desiring commitment, and I feel this more in the context of your person's pretty traditional, of course, so it's like they would want like a monogamous connected kind of partnership. They do have the tendency to be someone that people typically look to as like a shoulder to cry on, or like the strong friend, a support system and things of the sort. But I feel this particular person kind of feels comfortable in that role. You know what I'm saying? Of being like the helper, the peacekeeper, the go-to person. It's like they feel comfortable in that position. But when it comes to how it is that their typical approaches to relationships is them wanting something that's pretty like committed, something that's long-term, where they're able to play that role. And I would even go as far as to say that this person is a believer in like marriage. You know what I'm saying? So it's more or less a desire for more traditional, committed, me and you type of partnerships. Now, the energy between the two of you, oh, interesting. This came out for another sign. Wait, okay, no boobies. All right, we have the Two of Wands in the reverse. This came out for Gemini, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So if you have Gemini in your chart, Leo, or if your person of interest does, I would definitely check that out. But with the Two of Wands being the energy between the two of you, I'm not necessarily seeing this as forward movement between the two of you guys right now. With the Two of Wands being here, I would have to say that this is related to past energy. So it's like, and I can say specifically for you guys, Leo, the thing that's preventing you from moving forward isn't necessarily that past person, right? but it very well could be things that you have experienced in the past with relationships. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of do I want to say reluctant? That's kind of what I would say. It's almost feeling a tad like reluctant or um I don't want to say pessimistic. It's just that when it comes to how it is that you would be approaching relationships moving forward, or, this particular person of interest is kind of cautionary, like it's a desire to move forward and be with someone, but it's the thought of mistakes you've made in the past or things you've endured in the past that are making you kind of cautious about acting on this or moving forward. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to say reluctance, meaning in the sense that you're just like, I don't want to do that. But it's like apprehensive is probably a more appropriate word. And I would say the same for your person of interest as well. They're desiring, like I see you guys energetically, you're both wanting similar things. I won't say the same because Leo, you're in, minor arcana, in the sense that it's like, I want to move past where it is that I've been up to this particular point with someone who's not a past person. But your person of interest is really like, it's almost like they would be a person who dates for marriage, if I could say it that way. So their whole point of dating isn't, and I'm not saying that that's not the case for you, Leo, but their whole purpose for dating is because they're dating wanting it to lead to something that's committed and long term, and not like just to have like, a partner, boyfriend, girlfriend type of deal. Now, getting into the more specific spread for how your person of interest thinks and feels about you, and for those of you who aren't familiar of how it is that I do this spread, the first thing that we're looking at is their fleeting thoughts. So that's more or less like information that they're weighing. We're looking at their conscious thoughts towards you, so that's what they're aware of, like consciously aware of how it is that they're perceiving you. Then we're getting into the subconscious impressions and projections, which is the truth about them that they're not aware of, that they're 9 times out of 10 projecting onto you. And lastly, their feelings towards you. So the first card out for their fleeting thoughts, we have 3 of these. Oh, we have the Queen. I'm making sure I'm doing my FBI inspection, my federal boob inspector inspection. We have the Queen of Cuppies in the reverse. Then we have, interesting, wait, there's a booby. We have the Knight of Wands in the reverse. And then we have, I'm gonna have to tell y'all this too. If you're a Cancer, Leo, Cusper, you would probably want to check out Cancer too, because it's very similar already. And then we have, oh gosh, that's a booby. We have the 3 of Swords. Oh, your person was cheated on. Goodness. And I'm going to go ahead and look at the conscious thoughts as well. Come on, cards, don't slide. Stop being a jerk to me. Dagnabbit. Okay, their conscious thoughts. We have the 3 of Wands. They have clothes on, thank goodness. We have the 3 of Wands and their conscious thoughts. Interesting. So here is what it is looking like, my wonderful Leo friends. So with your person of interest, the first thing here with this this Queen of Cups in the reverse, this can go one of 2 ways. The more prominent energy that's coming to me is that they're seeing you as kind of like emotionally detached, like almost like their perception would be that you may not be open to a connection or, romance or, anything in that realm. They're seeing you a tad bit disconnected with that. And they have a sneaky suspicion as well with this Knight of Wands in the reverse that, you might just be interested in kind of like, sleeping around. So like, not saying that, you're like a whore or anything, but more or less like the perception between these 2 energies is that like their perceptions that you kind of like to keep things casual. I would even go as far as to say with the Queen of Cups in the reverse as well, it may be a little bit of fear that maybe you're not interested in them or you don't look at them like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, they're attracted to you, they're interested in you, but thinking that maybe you're probably not into them or maybe not attracted to them, or that's just not what you're looking for at present, Or on the other side of that, that you may only be looking for like, flings, casual, like we call each other up, we, fraternize, and then, we go on our separate ways. And like I was telling you, with this hierophant for this person, that's not really what they're looking for, because they're, a date for marriage kind of person. Another thing, and I'm pretty sure that this is going to end up aligning with their subconscious impression and projection, is the Three of Swords. So when they're looking at you, it's something about you. And I have to tell you, Leo, this has absolutely nothing to do with you as a person. It's like they're a little triggered. You know what I'm saying? And I really feel a lot of this has to do with their subconscious. Can't wait to see what that is. Because with them perceiving you as like a person who may not be, emotionally available, um, or not like, someone who's looking for something really deeply connected and maybe potentially into casual, sexual escapades and whatnot. A lot of that has to do with what it is that they've experienced past tense with this Three of Swords. So I can tell you wholeheartedly, the person that they were with prior to you, and I mean, I'm picking up on the person prior to you, but I mean, I do feel with this could potentially be a pattern of this with them, but more specifically, the person that they were with prior to you cheated on them. Like, definitely, they cheated on them. And that's kind of like a worry that they have, because since they get this vibe from you, and I mean, this does remind me, I don't know why. These are so interrelated. It's crazy, because this kind of reminds me, I said this in Cancer a little bit, but this reminds me a lot of Gemini as well, because of the perception of the person. And it's more or less like they're just picking up on your Leo vibes. You know what I'm saying? It's like Leos are movers and shakers. You know what I'm saying? You guys are talkers. You're, hilarious in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? And, attractive people, nice bodies, things of the sort. And it's just like this person's perception of you, of being kind of like this light, I guess you would say, like a sociable kind of person. It's the thought like, oh, a lot of people probably like them, and you know what I mean? And they have options, with a lot of people. And, they're probably the type of person that, has like a whole bunch of dudes or a whole bunch of chicks or whatever. And that kind of pings on their insecurity of thinking about, their past person that cheated on them. So it's kind of like a reluctance there. So going back to what I was saying in this Two of Wands of the energy between you all, that's more of like a clarification of that person's kind of pull back to where they're not being fully open. So I think it's interesting, because both of you do want to move forward and want to be in a connection. It's just I feel like you're both reserved for different reasons. And I say that this person wants to move forward in a connection because their conscious thoughts, what they're aware of in reference to you, is that they do want to move forward with you. Like they see a future with you. And here's the thing, I feel like I need to say this to make this less creeped out, because I want humans to understand each other better, right? Because we all communicate differently. Now, if you have a person such as your person of interest having this hierophant, right? This being a person who dates for marriage, right? This is a person whose mentality, which reminds me a lot of Cancer's reading, a person who has a mentality like this, they don't date just to date, right? If they meet someone and they fall for the person and they really like them, they don't entertain thoughts such as, let's see where this goes. You know what I'm saying? They won't say things such as, and I literally saw this in a TV show the other day, so I'm literally going to quote this. They won't say things such as, no, I totally support you freezing your eggs, because, if things don't work out between us, you should be able to have the right to still, have children when you're with someone else, right? A person who dates for marriage does not say things like that, because the thought is, even though we could say in logic, rational, everyday life, like, 7 out of 10 marriages end in divorce. Like, yeah, we could look at stats and say that, but a person who approaches love and relationships like this, they don't entertain ideas of like how they change the wedding vows now for however long our love shall last. They still have a perception of it being till death do us part, because it's like, if I'm connecting with you, I have feelings for you, this is going to be a long-term thing for me, right? It's not like that with everyone, but with this person's particular perception, when you have a person who dates for marriage and they're interested in you, then their thoughts go in accordance with, I'm attracted to you, I like you. My ultimate end goal, regardless of who I'm with, is to date for the purpose of marriage, but you're the person that I like. You know what I'm saying? So I want to date you to have a potential future with you. You know what I'm saying? Unless, something happens in that meantime, in between time, but they're more on the optimistic side. So they're not even really thinking about that. So that's what I'm seeing with this Three of Wands. It's like they're literally thinking from this present moment of them being attracted to you, that if, you guys are a good match, you like them, they like you, ultimately where they would want this to go is to end up in a committed relationship that would ultimately lead to marriage if you guys are compatible. But the thing that's causing that contrast, like I said, that's preventing the two of you from moving forward, is more or less what they're seeing, like snapshots they're seeing of you up to this point. It seems like that you're a very light, and I'm saying superficial, but not meaning that you're like vain and like vapid and shallow, but that you're kind of like touch and go with people. You're not really like too deep. You know what I'm saying? And not saying that you don't have depth, but it's like you just keep it light. And with them being familiar with that energy signature, they're relating it to something they've experienced past tense, which is people that they know that are kind of, sociable, flirty, touch and go, and light like that, have a tendency to be cheaters, right? So that's kind of all of the things that's going on in this person's mind, right? Now, their subconscious impression, child, ain't that something? I gotta cover up this whole damn card. It's the Four of Wands. It's a lot of things going on in there. So I think this is a good thing for them to have in their subconscious. It's more or less this person, dude, dead ass, they are a hardcore monogamous. They are a hardcore serial monogamous. You know what I'm saying? So with this person, it's like their desire underneath all of this is to have their one person, to have this one connection, to, you know what I'm saying? Uh uh be in the, till death do we part, happily ever after type of deal. You know what I'm saying? And I feel that's why this person would be so disillusioned. So this person's past tense stuff, this is really good as a subconscious impression. Hold on, y'all, I gotta stretch out my leg because I'm like literally sitting out Indian style, and my leg started feeling like it was like dying just now. Holy mother. Okay, cutting off my blood circulation. Okay, anywho, moving right along. So I can see with this person, dude, this I wouldn't say that your person is jaded. um I feel that that could have happened to where if they experienced another heartbreak, I could see how they could become jaded. But I feel whether this was one time or multiple times, this was like disillusioning to your person, because it's almost for them, they're like a true hardcore lover that dead ass like believe the best in every romantical situation. So the problem that your person of interest has is they project themselves onto other people, right? That's what a subconscious projection is. But where the problem is that them being a serial monogamous, being a person who values partnership, values family, stability, security on the home front, values marriage, being a very traditional person, when they meet people, it could be a person who is a hardcore, Knight of Wands in the reverse. You know what I'm saying? Like a literal, you know what I'm saying? Everybody can get it, like, community veg or community peen type of person, but they're projecting themselves onto that person. So it's like they're kind of, tossing out these red flags that this person is like that, because they're seeing themselves in that person. So because they want to be married and live happily ever after, the assumption is that the other person wants the same exact thing. And when this person behaves in a way that's, very much in accordance with the behavior that they've seen, it's like they're almost gutted and shocked of like, but like, yeah, like I knew that, you used to sleep with a whole bunch of people, but I thought that like, you loved me and wanted to be with me and like you wouldn't like do that anymore. You know what I'm saying? So it's them kind of being shocked by that. So I feel with your person, because of what they went through in their last connection, I feel that's why they're like a little apprehensive towards you, because you just being naturally who and how it is that you are, it's like it's showing up as a red flag for them and making them think like, because I feel there's something about you that is very similar to people they've dated in the past, but not necessarily like your sanctity as a human being, like your character. I just feel your person of interest has a type, right? So your person of interest, so let's say it this way. Say that you're this is weird. I have to ask who it is that I'm talking to right now, because the vision I just had in my head, I was like, wait a minute, that's a dude. So I'm like, who am I talking to right now? Because I'm saying this as your person of interest. So it's almost like your person of interest is interested, at least the person I'm talking to right now would be interested in dudes. Because I literally just saw it, like, I don't know, child. I don't want to say the whole reading is that would mean that, so this is someone who's interested in guys. The person of interest is interested in guys. So that would make the Leo person a guy. I mean, unless they're bi. I mean, yeah. I don't know. That's weird. Because literally, what I just saw in my mind's eye, I saw a dude who's like buff, right? So that's where my whole analogy was about to come from. So I don't know, child, but whatever. But anywho, so the vision I see is of like this dude who's like hella buff. So the analogy is more or less like your person of interest, like say if they date people who are like gym rats, like that's just like their natural attraction, right? And I'm not saying that's literally the case, but just hypothetically. If they're attracted to people who are like gym rats and like buff, then like Leo would look like that too. You know what I'm saying? So even though the person, they're attracted to people who are gym rats, but the people that they've dated up to this point have been habitual cheaters, that doesn't also mean that Leo is a habitual cheater, but it's the fact that Leo is really into like fitness and is like physically fit. That's their type, right? So you fit their aesthetic of what they're naturally attracted to, but that doesn't mean in character you're the same kind of person, because I feel like they don't necessarily know you that in depth to truly know your character as of yet, is kind of the vibe that I get. But it's like, because you fit their usual type, right? That's kind of what's triggering their fears. And it's like them projecting past situations onto you. So because you look the same, they're wondering if you're like, people that they've dated before, if that's making sense. Now their feelings towards you. Oh, child. We have the 5 of Pentacles. So that in this particular deck speaks to like a bittersweet type of thing. So I'm feeling this two kind of ways. Your person has hope. Like right now, I feel like there's like a deficit between the two of you emotionally. I don't feel it's because Leo is pulling back from this person or anything. I feel it's really because you guys just aren't there yet. So this is either a crush or like a friend or someone that you're newly dating. Like between the two of you is really not that deep yet. You know what I'm saying? But it's more or less like, this is so cute. It's like there's an emotional deficit here, emotional bankruptcy. Your person of interest feels like they're missing something. They're feeling kind of lonely. They're wanting a person in their life, specifically you. You know what I'm saying? And it's almost, and I said this with another sign too. I think it was Gemini or Pisces, one of them. But it's like they were feeling almost as if the person of interest would almost kind of like fill that void in their life. It's like, and that's what I'm saying, this person is very much a relationship person, which kind of gives me Libra vibes too. But Libras aren't usually aware that that's the case, to be honest. It's like I was telling this to my staff the other day. I find that Libra people, when they're in partnership with someone, like when they're in a romantical connection, they have a tendency to thrive, but it's like they don't realize that until they're actually in a connection with a person. You know what I'm saying? Whereas, like I said, like with Pisces, Pisces are a sign that are consciously aware that they want their other half. So they spend a lot of their life like desiring for, like their soulmate, their person, because they feel the next level of their life begins when they have their person, right? And I mean, I feel like that's true with Pisces. They do work well in relationships, but with Libra, that is a truth about them that they're not aware of. And they don't usually realize that until they're with someone. You know what I'm saying? But with your person of interest, they're in an energy. So, I mean, they could be a Pisces, but your person of interest, they feel the missing piece to their life is having, that committed romantic partner. You know what I'm saying? So it's like with them, there isn't very much like emotion there, but I feel that's because it's new. And I'm not saying that from their perspective that they don't have emotions for you. This is like how they're feeling in reference to you. So it could be a fear for them, going back to this Queen of Cups in the reverse, that you just might not be attracted to them or you might not be interested in them. I really feel your person of interest is kind of in the dark. It's like they don't know if you're nice to them just because you're flirty, you know what I'm saying? Or if you're actually really interested in them, which kind of gives me a vibe that there may be a little insecurity here with them, because I do kind of feel with this, there is some sort of contrast between the two of you, um, where there's some kind of difference here. And even so with the people that they're naturally attracted to, like I don't feel that Leo is very different, like in an aesthetic sense, from their past partners. But I feel that there's a stark contrast between Leo, their past partners, and whoever your person of interest is. Like looking at them, you'd be kind of shocked, like, oh, wow, that's the kind of people you're into. Like, I wouldn't have expected that. I wouldn't have thought, that was like your type or whatever. So that's something else that could be happening with Leo as well. Like Leo could literally be oblivious that this person is even interested in them, because their perception of this person is like, you would never think they'd like someone like you. It's like you're into me? Like, really? I had no idea. You know what I'm saying? So this kind of feels to me like something that's, like I said, two people that are friends, two people who are newly dating, or literally like a crush type of situation, where Leo could literally have somebody who's thinking this much about you to where they're showing up in a reading and you're none the wiser. You know what I'm saying? But this person does feel, going back to this Three of Wands and their conscious thoughts with this Five of Pentacles, that, or at least, fantasizing about it at the very least, that Leo could be the person that kind of ushers them out of they're out in the cold, single lonely space. You know what I'm saying? That you could kind of be like their knight in shining armor, if you will. You know what I'm saying? To rescue them from this, vapid existence of loneliness, if you will. But I don't know how you feel about that, Leo. How do y'all feel about that? Do y'all know who this person is that I'm talking about, child? Do y'all I wonder if it is a Taurus too. That would be interesting. Like how y'all feel about this person? I need to know. Tell me in the chat. Tell me in the comments. Is there somebody you guys have been hanging out with to where you're like sitting and thinking like, do they like me? Is that possible? Let me know in the comments. But I'm gonna go ahead and pull from my a la carte Doreen Virtue deck. Do I want to pull from this one? I think I'm gonna pull from both of them. Okay, this one. I'm gonna pull from this one and from this deck too, because I felt the need to pull this one. I don't know if you guys want to ask a question, because the card that came out, because I mixed a whole bunch of Doreen Virtue decks together, but the card that came out, it's a Angel Answers card. So I don't know what it says yet because I haven't turned it over. But if you guys want to ask a question, to see if it's going to give you an answer, go ahead and ask that question now. I'm going to bring back the dice of resonance, you guys. I feel like I need to bring back the dice of resonance. I miss the dice of resonance. If you guys are new, you'll have no idea what that is. But back in the day, I used to always use them after readings. And now I just really feel like I need them back because I miss them desperately. So let's turn over this angel answer. I hope you guys asked a question. So the answer to your question is not the right time. Aren't you glad that I told you to ask a question? Not the right time. So whatever it is that you asked, the answer is not the right time. So it's like with your person of interest, should I ask them, hey, do you like me? Not the right time. Okay, the next card we have is, oh, well, that's really a word. It's have patience. Oh my goodness. That's interesting. Love is patient and kind always. Dude, so here's the thing. This is going to be totally my bias. Um and the fact that I am a very traditional Taurian, but I would say if this is, and you can totally not agree with me, but this is just my opinion. If this is a Taurus, a Leo female that I am talking to, and your person of interest is a male, and you kind of have the vibe of like, I think he likes me. Well, maybe he's shy, like maybe he's afraid of being rejected, and maybe he's like afraid to approach me, and you're seriously considering like being the one who, asks him out first. Don't do it. Like, it's not the right time. Don't do it. And like I said, that's just my personal advice and opinion, because mind you, I'm very traditional, non-traditional. But when it comes to the fraternizing between the girls and the guys, I don't believe that women should ever for any reason approach men, ask men on dates or anything of the sort. You know what I'm saying? Because it just never works well. It always ends up being you stepping into like a masculine position and leading the entire relationship, and the guy takes like the feminine position. So you end up being the one who's kind of calling all of the shots. I mean, unless that's something that you're into. You know what I'm saying? If you're okay with kind of switching roles in a partnership, then by all means. But if not, if you want to be, the one that is cherished in the connection, I would not suggest going and talking to a guy, asking for his number and setting up dates. If, you're looking for something that's more committed and long term. So with this particular essence, if I'm talking to a feminine Leo, because I say that goes both ways. You know what I'm saying? If you're a person who shows up in the feminine, it doesn't matter if you're gay or straight. It's like if you're the one who wants to be cherished, okay, you know what I'm saying? Then the key is not to go to the masculine figure and, do masculine things. It's allowing them time to do that. So your person, they do want that. They do want commitment. They do want long term, but it's like they're still working some stuff out. So even though Leo, you guys are in a good place to where you're not still carrying baggage from your past connection, I clearly feel that your person of interest is. So the reason why things haven't moved forward with you two is because the time just isn't right now. So just be patient, dag nabbit, son of a gun. So anywho, Leo, that has been your connection session for February. Most certainly let me know what you think in the comments. And as always, I love your freaking face, and I will see you guys sooner than